Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me as always in our wonderful co-host seats is our good friends Angela Rose
Hello.
and, of course, Darren Sterling.
Who's not dead?
Yet, and we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and remind you Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media. For the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books, check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at one of the few upcoming conventions they'll be attending. We're also brought to you by Casey Fox. For all of your artwork, cosplay, and photography needs, be sure to check out Casey Fox. That's KAYCIFOXX on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We're also brought to you by Darren.
If you're down in the Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina, give me a call for any lawn care needs. And if you have any equipment for sale, please message me.
Our guest tonight, Rick from Nerd Urbanity, had to cancel. Unfortunately, if you live in the northeastern U.S., you have experienced an ungodly cold front that came through, which led to terror and havoc everywhere it hit. We had frozen pipes Friday. Rick is dealing with them today, so unfortunately he is unable to join us. But we will reschedule so he can come on and hang out with us and we can have fun talking with him again. Which that means tonight we are going to have an open chat, talk about a lot of the animes that we're watching. I spent the weekend at the Vermont Winter Renaissance Fair, so I'll be touching on that quite a bit. Some really, really cool people at the Ren Fair and some people that you would be interested in, Ange.
Excellent. I spent most of the weekend doing absolutely nothing because, like you said, way too freaking cold, so I didn't leave the house on Saturday.
I will be honest, being at the Vermont Winter Ren Fair, Friday temperatures got, with wind chill, as cold as -40.
Yep.
And so that's what led to frozen pipes at my apartment and many other apartments. When we called the landlord about the emergency, they'd already had 6 calls before us. The maintenance people were on a dinner break, and then they had us and another one to go to. They didn't leave our apartment till like 11 o'clock Friday night, so we almost didn't vend the Ren Fair. I'm glad that things worked out, and we were able to do the Ren Fair because it was a lot of fun, and I know we both would have been disappointed if we weren't able to go. Saturday, the temperatures continued to be like -35. I think the highest it got was like -25 wind chill. And then today it felt like a heat wave because when we got home, wind chill was 26 degrees positive.
And I think we were complaining about teen temperatures with wind chills near zero last month.
I think we hit record colds.
And HH in the chat. Yep, jump started plenty of cars, saw a couple of house fires, and one dude's furnace quit, so he was sleeping in his car because of that. Well, shit.
Yeah.
I hope everybody. I hope that person's. I hope that person is well, or as well as can be. I've seen a lot of my Facebook, my social media feeds are a lot of things of that nature, and people tweeting that they called 911 because of homeless people outside in this weather.
Mm-hmm.
But
and I wanted to start off a little bit about talking about the Ren Fair. Of course, we had Jeff Fulbon a couple weeks ago promoting the Vermont Winter Ren Fair, and we did really, really well, considering the fact that Saturday she went with 100% original pieces, no fan art. She had left all of the anime stuff, all of the anime artwork behind, figuring Ren Fair want to just bring artwork that's more appropriate for that. But after being there Saturday and seeing what everybody had, and we saw fursuiters come through, a lot of amazing cosplays, both in Renaissance gear and out of Renaissance gear. It was quite quite interesting to see how the fan bases of multi-genre has incorporated itself in everything. Ren fairs, Comic Cons, Anime Cons, Sci-Fi. You're seeing a lot of crossover, and there was one food vendor there that had a ton of Japanese snacks. So we figured we would bring the anime stuff and her entire stock of art today, and we didn't quite hit the goal that we wanted, but we were pretty close. So can't complain. Do want to throw a shout out to a couple of people. First, it's Getting Dice. I'm going to put their card up so hopefully people can see. We bought a dice roller from them that was collapsible. It folds up, has a nice carrying case, because as you heard us talking about with Jeff, Casey Fox had an idea of build your own Chimera. And we did have some takers on that, but we wanted a nice place where the dice getting rolled would stay contained as opposed to on a table, falling off, rolling across the floor, things like that. Angela, you can understand that as a D&D player. They get a mind of their own when you get into the D4s, D8s, and
I have lost dice. Let's just leave it at that. Carpet monsters have eaten dice.
So we and this is the back of the card. You can check them out at itsgettingdicey.com. And ironically, they are good friends with our friend Jay Moores. They supplied the dice for his Kickstarter and all the playtesting of Fae that we did the game for. Because they had copies of Fae at their booth, which was like, oh, you know Jay?
It's a small world after all.
We also had a nice little conversation with another vendor there that I think you would like. Dungeons by Dan. They were a Dungeons and Dragons heavy booth. The picture on the other side, he had little mats that you can put together to make a playing area. This is what 9 of those mats put together could look like. And he had, the woodland themes, he had city themes, he had all sorts of different things.
See, that one looks almost like what you can come up with the Carcassonne tiles.
I think it's probably something similar to that. So definitely, when I walked by and happened to see that there was a Dungeons and Dragons based booth, immediately I thought of you, knowing that you are the D&D player.
Oh yeah, no. That gets into a whole. That goes into a whole rabbit hole. I'm just going to avoid because there's a lot of D&D news right now.
Also, last year at the Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo, we met some awesome people who were vending behind us, Papa's 3D printing and more. Wouldn't you know it, as we got set up, showing up after we were all set up, the booth behind us, Papa was there again. Last time, Evie got her first dice. This time, she got a 3D printed spider, which was really, really cool. And, thank you, Papa, for doing that. You didn't have to. He also came over and was one of the people who got a Chimera commission. And there were some really interesting roles. Another one that got the It's Getting Dice also went and did the Chimera commission as well. So. Also want to throw a shout out to Havoc Mead and Grinnell, Groennell Meadery. They were on hand. They stopped by the table and gave us some free samples, including this, which I am actually going to open and test on air. I have not opened it yet.
Is it meat? Is that meat or is that
that is an oak aged wildflower honey mead. That is not out for distribution yet. It comes out this week, he said.
Beta testing.
So beta testing.
Huzzah! Nope.
And so, we're not so much as big on alcohol on here as, occasionally we have the drinks. But for those interested, check out Havoc Mead and everything. It was wonderful to talk with them at the event. We also had another meadery that was beside us, and I cannot find their card. I know I had grabbed a card, but I don't see it now. But they were amazing, and it was a distillery. It was like Night Distillery. I don't know where the card is now, but they were amazing to have beside us. Of course, we saw our friend Manic Dan Flanders from Manic Mart was on hand. We chatted with him. Some
That
amazing outfits.
I was gonna say that episode just went up on the audio sites a few days ago.
Freak of Nature was on hand. Freak of Nature CT. And I just dropped their card. They had handmade soaps. All natural. All the ingredients were on the tags. We did purchase from them. They had a lot of really good scented soaps and things like that. So it was great having them. In fact, this was the one that we got. On the back, it gives you the full list of ingredients. So if you're interested in checking them out, you can find them on Instagram at Freak of Nature CT, or go to www.freakofnaturect.com. And they hand make everything. So it was really, really cool to see them. They were kind of table diagonally from us. Also, shout out to Vermont Farmhouse Jerky Co. They were tabled across from us. So all weekend I stared at beef jerky. I love beef jerky. I could not buy. Could not get some. And the light is horrible there, but
were there maple bacon jerky? That sounds interesting.
They had free samples, and this was unbelievable.
Did they have any exotic, interesting meats?
They had like honey barbecue. They had a teriyaki that was a little different flavor from like the normal teriyaki you would think of with jerky. They had like a Cajun barbecue one. They actually had quite a bit of stuff. You can check them out at www.vtjerky.co. And looks like they have an actual building called and so if you're in Essex Junction, you can go to 89 Center Road, Essex Junction, Vermont, and find them there. The distillery that was beside us was Wild Heart Distillery. Yeah, so I tried a couple of the free samples they had there, which then they had them in a little thimble, so they were there. The other distillery gave us a cup that was like that big.
Yep.
Of a couple of free samples, so it was really good. Then Wild Heart wasn't mead; they had gin and vodka and a lot of other types of alcohol. Also, we wanted to give a shout out to King's Collections. If I remember correctly, I think they were in the corner, and Evie spent a ton of time over there. They had like little wooden blocks that kids could play with. They rented out outfits for Renaissance if people wanted to try them on and things of that nature. Other cards that we had grabbed include Bat Wings and Shiny Things, dealing with chainmail, scale mail, jewelry, accessories, specialties, and more. They were on hand. If you're into swords and sharp, pointy objects, I'm not even gonna attempt that one.
Skaldborg.
Check them out. They had some really, really awesome stuff. Big axes and swords, and like these swords were $300-$400 swords, but they were huge and really, really well done. I had to keep reminding myself, we don't have the money. We don't have the money.
Nope. Whereas in my car is my axe, literally, because I've been axe throwing.
And shout out to the fairies that were walking around the Ren Fair all weekend, dancing with the kids, having a good time. There were 3 of them that were dressed up, and just absolute blast. They were so cheerful. They had a little fairy train that went by. We got Evie little fairy wings, and she was ecstatic to have those today, and then follow them around and playing and stuff. So it was a good time, and if you were brave enough to come out to the Red Fair this weekend, we thank you for coming out and having fun. It was a blast. We had, you hear me talk a lot about when you're vending the table neighbors you have around you, and we had amazing people around us on all sides, and thank you to all of them for making the event so much fun as well. And I won't lie, I was worried that I was not going to be back in time for the start of the show. Literally, I think like 7:59, I was able to sit down at the computer, and then I was like, "Oh crap, I need to grab some things." So that's why a little bit later start than we were expecting. And good evening, HH and John Knight. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who's listening tonight live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, or after the fact on the podcast sites. We thank you so much for tuning in. Tonight we are going to be getting into anime talk because we all are watching many different things and a couple of the same, I think. I also finally caught up on Spy Family and finished the 25 episodes that are out this far.
You didn't finish it?
That was something that the wife and I were watching together, and between vending and her getting ready for vending and Life, the Universe, and other, we didn't have time to sit down and watch together, and neither of us wanted to go ahead. So we just finished getting caught up to the most recent episode that is out on Crunchyroll. At least in English. I think there's only 25 out, and we're going to get more.
Yes. The question is not, are we getting more? The question is when.
Yep.
No, we finished. We got behind and then caught up and stayed caught up. But
And I know, Darren, you've been on my case about watching a couple of different shows that I still haven't started.
Well, I could say the same to you. You've been on my case about quite a few shows yourself.
One show that all of us are actually caught up on, which is unusual for us because usually one of us is behind.
Yup.
And I will give the spoiler alert now. If you have not caught up with Bo Fury, we are going to be talking about it.
We can do spoiler free.
I will.
No fun.
I will say that season 2 has not disappointed.
I love how season 2 is bringing more of the ensemble, giving more of the ensemble screen time.
Yes,
I agree.
It is nice that they have branched out to where you're not just solely like following Maple and Sally. You're seeing the rest of the guild, and you're seeing how some of the other guilds are faring and the interactions. So you're seeing the friendships make.
And the true colors behind, or the true personalities behind certain
Yup.
Other guilds.
Yeah.
Yup. That was also a thing.
That was a shock. I was not expecting that.
I also really enjoyed. I've been enjoying the dev clips.
I got a question. When they roll the end credits, when they start texting each other, do y'all read those?
Yes.
Yes, I pause it and read everyone.
Same.
Because that's been some interesting things. Like, okay, who is that the administrators chatting? Is that the guild mates? Like, who are the ones behind those texts?
It varies. I think it's other player. I think sometimes it's other players, sometimes it's developers.
I kind of like how the developers are like, okay, we're going to continue to make strong and difficult monsters, but we still have to make them where they can be defeated.
Without targeting Maple.
Yes.
Which and it was funny watching the most recent challenge that Maple and Sally did solo.
And Maple did take damage.
Yes.
We won't say how, but she did take some damage. HH says go ahead and spoil it. It makes no difference.
But Maple.
Well, she also pulled off a little bit of a Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
I think what I found the funniest was Sally does not like ghosts. And there was a whole entire floor that was ghosts and goblins and ghouls, and Sally hated it.
Yeah, spooky, scary stuff. Sally's reactions to that were priceless.
And the solution to said issue was what
Quite
the
interesting.
Yep.
I found that very comical on how they got around to have Sally, because even in the most recent challenge, they basically had to defeat an entire tower, and they chose to do it alone. The rest of the guild went to do an easier challenge, I believe.
I thought they did a difficult one also.
It's possible.
I know Maple and Sally did the toughest one they could. The
Of
rest of the
course.
guild might have done the same one, just not with them.
Because
Well-
everybody who went to face these challenges got their own buildings, so they all created their own parties, and each party got you might have had 12 parties go after the toughest one, but each party is in their own version of that tower.
Yep. And Pain is still, there's a reason he's Pain.
Yup.
But then again, they did have one extra person. And then how many people did me have?
Me had a few. Pain had a couple of minions. Because that was the joke with their new minions. Why are we here?
You mean cheerleaders?
Yeah, the four guys that were hiding in the rocks.
Yes, that is exactly what I am referencing. Me had a few. I think it was either 4 or 6.
4. I think she had 4.
Or her and 3 others, I think.
Yeah. And then you had Sally's rival. Was Sally's rival the one that was with Pain as well?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought so. Like she was using her competitiveness against Sally. I can't say hatred, but competitiveness against Sally.
That whole, you're my
fire.
rival.
And I have a feeling that's going to end up coming back to bite her in the butt, because she's going to lose focus at some point and just get demolished, and it's going to crush her.
Are we talking about Sally or the rival?
The rival.
She gets overconfident every time.
Yep.
And that's where it's going to come back and bite her in the butt. But Bo Fury has not disappointed. Syrup is still got to be the cutest sidekick in anime. I don't care what anybody else says.
Oh, and Obero actually got some screen time too.
I was happy about that. Obero got some screen time, got some battle time. It was nice to see Syrup get some battle time. I love the fact that he just shouts turtle as he shoots a beam out his mouth.
Yep.
Probably the most interesting thing is when they were in that one dungeon and she saw the giant flying turtle.
The sea turtles, tortoise. Yes.
Yeah, she's just like, I don't want to beat it. I want to ride it.
I kind of want to ride it. And so I was like, oh my God. And then all the admins and developers are like, how is Sally and Maple doing in the challenge? They're relaxing. What? And there you see a picture of them in launch chairs with an umbrella on the shell of this turtle. They're supposed to beat because it's the floor boss. And it's like, oh my God, only Maple could do that. And make it work and fit and not be totally retarded or ridiculous in the show.
Yep.
I'm a little disappointed she's only used that one skill she just obtained once.
I'm sure it'll come back again.
I was kind of waiting for her to use it during that challenge.
Well, yeah, I mean, she did have some tough challenges where she was not able to just walk through them like she was with most things. She
Yeah,
did she did take damage.
I think you mean eat through them.
Eat through them, fight through them.
Get
She
eaten by.
completely annihilate with her mecha.
Nope.
Now we know why Angela likes it so much. She goes mecha.
No. It's that's
I,
just an
th-
added bonus.
I think you mean atrocity.
She can go from like devil to angel just by choosing a different skill ability.
Yep. And it's great. Maple is freaking adorable.
I think that's what makes the show so entertaining. Is just the ridiculousness of it, and Angela is somebody that plays D&D and understands the RPG world and video games and tabletop games. Seeing somebody play it so wrong yet so right has got to really like tickle your interest.
As someone who has as someone I suppose there are in season 1 there were certain things that hit way too close to home because when I at one point played Guild Wars 2 with a bunch of my friends, and I knew nothing about MMOs. They gave me the fighter class on purpose because they knew they knew my playstyle. And at one point, we're getting ready to do a big raid thing, and everyone's looking. And the two guys in my guild that were the big number crunchers were looking through everybody's characters, and they're like, "And you have this ability. Why have you not been using it?" Wait, I'm supposed to do more than just hit things? That was literally my reply because I didn't pay attention to anything other than which weapon could I use that would do the most damage without me taking damage.
Which sounds a little bit like Maple. She just
Instead of putting it all into defense, I did the opposite and put everything into offensive abilities.
so
But
you were the twins.
not quite as disproportionate, but yes.
And what was it about Bo Fury that really drew your attention there?
The sheer ridiculousness of the character. Because as someone who plays Pokemon, stats are everything. And I would always tend to be the one that would try to go for the offense more than the defense, which has come back to bite me in the rear. Um, Especially in competitive battles with my butt getting kicked by a damn clef key. I'm still not proud of that one. I got beat by a ring of keys practically.
I was gonna say Klefki's the stupid keys, isn't it?
The keys that steal and fairy. And that was when they added fairy type. Ugh, that was annoying.
But no, in most video games, I tend to focus on damage output, and I am notorious for not remembering to level up my weapons and armor as I go.
That was something when I was playing Adventure Quest that I had to keep remembering. Not only did I have to upgrade my weapons, I had to upgrade my shields, I had to upgrade my spells, I had to constantly
Yep.
upgrade my
To the
armor, and then hell, it wasn't until like several years, like I created that back when it was still in its early stages back in 2005,
to the
and
point,
then I still have the account to this day.
like playing through one of the Borderlands games, and I'm struggling with a boss fight, and my husband just looks at me. When was the last time you got new weapons and armor? Oh, let me
Well,
see. Let me see. Lo and
that was
behold, I'm like level 40 running around with a level 10 gun.
well. I made almost level 100 as a free player before I finally paid money to that I found on a gift card that I forgotten about. I'm like, screw it. I'll see what the Guardian features and whatnot that I missed out over the years really, really allowed me to do. And they were nice, but
I'm curious if anybody since Fury has come out has actually attempted to do a build like she does and see if it actually works in an actual MMO.
I would not I wouldn't be surprised if someone's tried it.
but I don't think they've gone viral for it yet.
Exactly. I feel like if something went that game breakingly ridiculous,
We'd hear about it.
we'd know.
The last ridiculous game breaking thing was Twitch plays Pokemon that I remember.
And two of my friends actually cosplayed from that for Anime Boston one. It was either Anime Boston or PAX East that year. They did one of them was Bird Jesus and the other was the trainer.
I thought they were going to be the Helix fossil.
And John says today is Derek Stevens Prince's birthday. The voice of Shino in Naruto, Uru Ishida in Bleach, and Kibayo in SAO. So happy birthday, Derek. Also today is the birthday of a good friend of mine, Newton Vizina, who I've known since he was 19 and I was probably like 10 or 11. So I've known him a long, long time. The problem is he still looks like he's 19, even though he's probably pushing 50.
So he's Ash Ketchum.
Pretty much. It's like a real life, like he's does not look like he's aged at all. The last time I had seen him anyway. It's been maybe a year. He lives out in Western Mass. But I want to wish him a happy birthday as well. Other shows that we are watching. I know, Darren, you have a couple that you've been enjoying, including The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, which I have not started yet.
You need to. It will. It. As much as I love Tony Kawa, this rivals it in wholesomeness. Like Sheena is adorable. No, Mahiru. Yeah, Mahiru Sheena. She is adorable, and she is my favorite girl this season. She is
And she just
best
shakes her
girl.
head.
She is best girl this season. Period. End of story. And before Ange says anything, let me rephrase that. She is best girl from a new anime this season. Because I already know you're best girl.
I can't. Okay, I can't argue that. I can argue Maple is best girl, but
is a new anime. I will say that I have been enjoying By the Grace of the God Season 2. It's quite interesting to see how the story has progressed. It's one of those, yes, it's an isekai, but doesn't quite feel like an isekai, especially as it's gotten into the second season, because you're now more engulfed in the main character's journey as opening up shops as basically a beast tamer of slime and studier of slimes, creating new slimes. Yes, he's overpowered. He can use all types of magic. Da 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 da. But you see more of a business route take place from this 11-year-old. and the storyline's actually been really good. I have been enjoying it. It still does have some of the isekai feel as I think about it, where he does go back to talk to the gods and stuff when he goes to a shrine, as that's one of his abilities. But it's still very wholesome. It's a fun slice of life if you just want something to sit back and enjoy, not get too wrapped up. There is some action, there's some adventure. You can see a slight romance that develops between two people around the same age, even though they're young, 10, 11, 12 years old. You can see that there is some romance interest developing there. Whether it develops into anything, who knows? uh, Time will tell, but it has been quite entertaining, and I have been enjoying it. Me and my slice of life fun animes.
Um,
Um, on another note, I know I mentioned this to both of you. Is anyone watching adventurers who lost faith in humanity will save the world?
Yes.
it's on my list. I haven't started it yet.
What's your opinion so far, Doug? Interesting premise or slow?
It's an interesting premise. The most recent episode that I watched, where kind of the main male character runs into his ex who scammed him, and seeing her try to scam somebody else was quite an interesting twist. And to see how the four people who hate humanity kind of like came together in that was very refreshing. It definitely had a fantasy feel. Um, for once, it's a fantasy that's not an isekai,
Yep.
so
And
that's why I think Ange would like it.
That is why it's on my list. 100%. Um,
also I forgot your dragon girl.
Yes, there is
um,
a Dragon Girl. Although I don't know if I would put her in the top 5 of my favorite Dragon Girls yet. She hasn't like jumped up there.
You're still adorable.
a fun fact. So I am completely caught up with Trigun Stampede. It is actually, i- if you are looking for something that is a reboot or remake of the original, this is not that. It is the same characters, but a very different story. And it has actually gotten to a point where I can say I'm enjoying it.
And that's good to hear. And HH in the chat says, "Oh, the slime one is an isekai. I first seen it in a manga and found its development really slow but engaging." And then he says, "Sorry, Darren. I know I said I'd read that one last week, but forgot about it.
Read which one?
I'm not sure. Which one did you say you would read last week, HH? We not sure. So leave a comment and let us know."
Oh, and are you caught up on Vinland Saga? Because I think I'm one episode behind.
No, no, I am. That's another one I'm way behind on still. Uh, for the time being, given that it's been uh,
Oh, he was talking about Lost Faith in Humanity.
Uh, get on it. Very
and
good.
HH, I'm gonna say kind of yes, because I've only seen Brotherhood and not the original Full Metal Alchemist.
I would almost say kind of, and I don't know if you've seen this one either, but Negima did kind of a similar thing where they put the first one out, and then they kind of did a reboot with same characters but different storyline.
Um, and John's actually bringing up the due to the weather in Dallas, the new dubs for the winter season are delayed.
Which sounds about right, because thanks to our friend Christy Rothrock, who does a morning show down in Oklahoma. And they have had some serious ice storms this week, and like road conditions were almost untraversable. From what I was hearing, there was a lot of power outages and stuff
Um,
because they're not.
Texas pardon
Usually.
my language, Texas with power is fucked. There's parts of Austin are still without power.
Good God. Yeah, they're not built for storms like we are up
Well,
here.
it's also it's not just that, it's also I think it's money and local suppliers, because I remember, cuz one of the YouTube channels I follow is based out of Austin, Texas, and they were talking about the brownouts that would happen all summer.
Hmm,
With it's some sort of money issue between the city and the power grid or the
interesting.
power companies.
But it's to be expected of delays and things. The weather this winter has been crazy all across the country. So
We still
definitely,
ain't got no snow.
well, la ti da.
Sorry, but when you're in the South, snow is a treat around here.
I want snow. We didn't get enough. Hi,
Hello,
Ross.
Ross.
Good to see ya.
We still have snow on the ground up here.
Well,
Guys, it's
Yeah,
been too cold for it. Negative 40 degrees and all.
yeah, see, the last time we got snow, it was 50 degrees within the week, so we lost it all.
the last time we got snow was a couple weeks ago in the form of flurries that were on and off over the course of 2 hours.
And Friday, we were 40 degrees colder in Shazy, New York than Alaska was. And I think we were 27 degrees colder than Antarctica.
And Ross is saying that in here in Arkansas, it's in the 70s.
It's in the 40s here.
We hit 30, we hit like 36 today here. So
It
it's
is
like a heat
currently,
wave.
according to Google and my phone, it is 41 degrees in Boston
And
Right
it is,
now,
right now,
yeah, we
literally.
have
it's
34 in
it's
Plattsburgh, New York.
it's 45 here in Willow Spring, North Carolina.
So the weather is fun all over the place. Another show
It,
that I was starting, and I think Ross, you had brought this one up, which kind of had me intrigued a little bit, and that's saving 80,000 gold for my retirement.
okay, that show, I actually caught up on that one. Um, it's a new twist on an isekai because the lady can literally hop back and forth between worlds at will.
I think that's one thing I like about it. And yes, it's another isekai. How do they change it this time? The fact that she has the ability to go back and forth from her world to the new world that she got sent to is a nice twist. You don't really see that because you see, like when isekais first started, it was how do I get back to my home world? A show like Familiar Zero, where like half of the first season he was trying to figure out how to get back to Earth and out away from Luis and everything. And now you have one where they jump back and forth.
Yeah. Also, the main character, eh, she loves to capitalize on every little thing.
Now, what do you expect? I mean, it's nice that she's not like extremely overpowered. You actually see her have to work towards getting skills and things like that.
Still, but I just feel that some of the stuff she does is a little too underhanded.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ross says he did not bring that up. That's not when he's watching. Somebody in chat had brought that up at some point, so I apologize, Ross. I thought it was you.
Was it HH?
I don't know. It was somebody in chat that said that they had that was going to be one of like 17 shows they were watching this season.
And HH is talking about more weather stuff. Uh, Canada's road servers often carry torches because the negative 30-degree winters hammer the lug nuts on hard. He broke a half-inch breaker bar trying to change a tire from Quebec.
I could understand that.
Yep.
Yep.
Going to Montreal, Thanksgiving weekend, it was so cold, and we learned real quick we're not traveling Thanksgiving weekend again anytime soon.
I can imagine. And sticking with the isekai theme, I did break down and decide to start watching Farming Life in Another World.
Oh, you
This
mean
is my surprised face.
and I thought you mean How to Start Another Harem.
Pretty much. I think that's what intrigued me. I was like, okay, let's see how this guy ends up with a harem, and starts off in the middle of what's known as like the dead woods, where nobody can ever survive, and he's has this amazing farming tool that can turn into whatever he needs, and will grow any crop he can imagine just by thinking of it. He can till the land, and those plants grow.
And more from the chat. Ross is saying he met Rob Paulson yesterday.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome. What event was going on yesterday?
I've seen Rob Paulson at ConnectiCon a couple of times, but I've never actually had the chance to go up and chat with him.
I think I've seen him at Anime-Zing. not Anime-Zing, Raleigh SuperCon. Excuse me.
Ross says Arkansas Anime Fest.
Ah,
That's awesome.
agree.
In fun yet sad news, I got an email saying that my panel was approved at ConnectiCon. Unfortunately, we cannot go to ConnectiCon because that's the weekend we're moving. So I was excited when I first got that email, and I got that last night as I was going to bed, so like 11 o'clock at night. I was like, congratulations, your panel has been accepted, which I put that in before we realized that we needed to get out of this area. And sadly, it's like, we're not going to be able to go. So no press, no table, no panel at ConnectiCon this year. Hopefully next year. Anime Boston, Casey Fox will definitely be at. They have a table in Artist Alley. At this point in time, my appearance at Anime Boston is dependent upon press, which I think we won't find that out until the end of the month or sometime in March.
The email said early March. Give me 1 second.
If we get press, I will definitely be there Saturday and Sunday. Otherwise, there's a chance I may not go at all, just because of trying to figure out babysitter issues. Which we have a babysitter Saturday and Sunday, but not Thursday and Friday.
Someone from our press team will reach out to applicants regarding the status of their application by March 4th.
Okay. So we have another month to wait to find out if we get in or not. I'm hoping that we do, because we tried to be as respectful of everybody with Anime Boston and their guests last year, and it was an honor to have press coverage, and hopefully we did justice. Ross says that he also got to meet Todd Habercorn, Dante Bosco, and Ian Sinclair, two of which I've met and had on the show. Dante Bosco, I don't know that one. And hello, Iris, who says Arkansas Anime Fest. He was out there as well. I hope you guys had a good time out there. It's a little bit far for us to travel. Plus, I was at a Ren Fair this weekend.
Doug, did you ever see the movie Hook?
No.
Dante Bosco is the actor who played the leader of the Lost Boys in that movie.
Oh, that's cool.
And did not realize he was in Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's pretty cool.
And for those of you wondering the faces that I made, um, if you're just joining us, we had at the Ren Fair, there was a couple of meaderies and distilleries that had tables there. One of them, Havoc Meadery, uh, brought by some free samples for us to try. And this is a mead that's going to be coming out on the market this week. So we were able to get a can before you really can buy it. And I just took my first sip of it, and it's actually really good. It says it's a oak aged wildflower honey mead, and it's actually like really good. I'm not much with mead or alcohol in most cases, but I like this.
I'm just going to do another shout out for the chat. Iris Neckox was also at Arkansas Anime Fest. Hi, Iris. Yes, HH Rufio.
And Ross said Todd's line was the longest and biggest. Does not surprise me. We
Nope.
saw Todd at Kineticon in 2021, and we actually got in Todd's Instagram or Twitter or something. He took video going down the line, and the video actually cuts out right after it passes by us. And it was the first time that we had actually had a chance to meet Todd in person, even though I've had a chance to interview him multiple times. Just awesome, awesome guy. He also had a really cool thing where he had a Infinity Gauntlet Legos, and whenever you went up for an autograph, you got to put pieces. Like if you've ever put together Legos, I'm sure a lot of our fans have. You get a instruction booklet and they're numbered. Okay, step 1, put these pieces. Step 2, step 3. Um, so we were actually able to put pieces on this gauntlet, and the last person of the con, or whoever got to put the last pieces of the gauntlet on there, actually got to keep the gauntlet. So that was kind of a neat thing that they did to give back to the fans outside of being able to get autographs and stuff. Which at some point I hope we're big enough we can do things like that.
Today is not that day.
Today is not that day. April will not be that day. The next time that we actually have a table for AZR at an event.
Unfortunately, but we're getting there.
Yep. And with your help, we can continue growing. We thank everybody who has become a part of the AZR family. We really do appreciate it. All the support on YouTube, all the support on Twitch and Facebook, and all the podcast streamers. Man, we love you guys. Thank you so much.
Someday, someday, all three of us will be in the same physical location at the same time, and it will be hilarious.
I want Darren to suck it up and come up to Anime Boston. Hopefully they lift the restrictions for COVID next year in 2024, because I have a big plan I want to do, and I think it would be phenomenal if we all could be there to do a 10-year anniversary live from Anime Boston.
Or we pick a different convention that is nowhere near any of us and do a 10-year live from random location.
It's
That
just
could be fun.
And the reason that I chose Anime Boston is because that is literally falling like the weekend technically before our 10-year anniversary. So
I'm just being ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll just fly out to like California or Texas and
Let's
hit a
just
con
hit
up.
up. Let's just hit up like Anime Expo or something, or Otakon or something.
Or we find a spot that is equidistant from all of us.
Japan.
There you go.
We
Let's
don't know
go.
what this podcast is, but let's go out there and do a live podcast in a country we know nothing about.
Or we do
Summer
London.
Comic-Con or Winter Comic-Con.
Or we do MCM London.
I don't know how I would How would they take us in London?
Um, I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed my time in London.
I have never been out of the continental U.S., so
I have never been out of the East Coast.
Darren barely leaves his house.
I leave my house every day. It's just that I go to everybody else's house in a very short driving distance. Yards don't take care of themselves.
Or we do something silly like a C2E2 or which
Or y'all,
I believe is Chicago.
or y'all just show up at my house unannounced one day.
That could work too.
We could do that. And then throw you in the back of a car and we go to Anime-Zing.
That would work.
Now, what
My friend Matt down the road would be more than happy to assist. I'm sure.
Oh God.
I will say that, and I've had people ask me, going back on shows that we're watching, I've had people suggest campfire cooking in another world, and it's like I can't see myself starting that one.
Are you watching Chilling in My 30s after getting kicked out of the Demon King's army?
I am not.
And we got chat going again from Ross. There's an anime this season that is freaking frustrating me because the main character is dense on his feelings.
Let's see. Which one, Ross?
Reincarnated as the strongest exorcist anime? Question mark.
Reincarnate. Uh, haven't watched.
And HH is telling us to have our own convention. Just pick a field somewhere and send out flyers. If you build it, they will come.
You know, it's funny. One of my radio stations has a thing where it says, if you want to start a band, name it free beer. That way everyone will come. And when they get there, be very disappointed.
Okay, I see the one I see the one that Chilling in My 30s. That's a Crunchyroll title. I have not started that one, and the reincarnation of the strongest exorcist in another world is the one that Ross was just talking about. Another Crunchyroll title. A lot of stuff on Crunchyroll this time around. I think I'm only watching one high dive show, and that's the Farming in Another World.
And Timothy, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that last name because I will butcher it, says that Darren, that's basically what they did with Woodstock 2. I ended up watching a documentary about the Woodstock 99
And the mistake it was.
and the trash fire it was.
I know people who worked it.
I've heard stories about Woodstock.
And don't worry, no one gets it right. And HH says, Darren, I like your friends.
Thank you.
Now, there's been a lot of cool things out there, and Ross is talking about I think he's still talking about the strongest exorcist. The servant of the family girl is so in love with him, hinting she wants to be with him, and he goes and tells his familiars that because of his mistakes in his previous life, he doesn't want to get emotionally attached. And then the karma shines through from Timothy. So It's great to have Timothy in here. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in. I see some new names in here, and that gets me excited. I'm so happy you guys are tuning in. Unfortunately, our scheduled guest, Rick from Nerd Urbanity, had to cancel due to uh, emergency at home with freezing pipes because of the cold this weekend. Very understandable. We will reschedule him because Rick is just an absolutely awesome individual. Having met him in person last year, he's joined us on the show in the past. Next week, we do have a guest. We're going to have Josie McCoy from Genshin Impact. The voice of Diluc will be joining us. It'll be fun to reconnect with him.
Yep.
And Timothy says, "You know me, just not been here in a while." Well, thank you so much for coming back. We see some faces we recognize, some that come and go periodically. I apologize that I suffer from CRS. and But really, we thank you for tuning in. And I know, Angela, you were sent me a message earlier this week about the podcast numbers have been increasing, and we've been
Yep.
gaining more of an international audience.
Yep. And I will say, because I had it up in a separate tab, the fall preview show that was in our backlog went up a few days ago, and it's already got more listens than a fair amount of the other ones. And flipping over, come on, internet, cooperate.
Is it your internet or your computer?
Uh,
And I did see that, Timothy. It is great to have Karma back with us.
Yay.
We've got listeners on the podcast platforms. We've got Venezuela, Canada, Brazil, US minor outlying islands, Mexico, New Zealand, Poland, Bulgaria, Italy, Germany, Austria, UK, and US.
Poland.
Yep.
That's amazing. That, like, the amount of countries that listen to us are it's mind blowing. So thank you all so much. If you're listening to us on the podcast side of things, come on over to YouTube. Join us for the live shows. Interact with us. If you have questions, we love to get the questions from the chat for both us and the guests we have on. I need to get my butt in gear and start getting more guests lined up because after next Sunday, we have an open slate.
Timothy says they're finally getting a Windows 11 PC. My PC is actually pretty. When it was built, it was damn near top of the line. It still runs really well. Like, I have not had any issues with games thus far. Our internet occasionally does go spotty.
You know what's funny? My old laptop, Windows 7, I would run internet tests on it on my Wi-Fi, and I'd get 20, 30, maybe on a good day, 40 megabit download speeds. I go to my new laptop, I'm getting 200 to 300.
But yes, it is. The chat's going back and forth.
Oh, Angela.
Yes.
Have I convinced you to start Tomo-chan as a girl yet?
No, but I only have so much time. So what I'll probably do is pick one and try to keep up with it for the season out of your suggestions, and then wait for the rest and then binge during the in-between, or just watch it a season late.
The only reason, and Doug, have you started that one?
I have not.
The main reason is because of not your two main characters, but your two side characters. They're very interesting people. One of them I can kind of relate to Angela.
Oh God.
And that would be Gundo.
Not
Okay. I
And
think that
then
scares Angela.
the other one, Carol, is interesting to say the least. You would enjoy it, Doug. You really would.
It's on my possibility to watch list, but I haven't really had the time with cons and work and things like that to sit and start new stuff just yet. Trying to catch up on the shows that I've been watching, and I do know that I've been seeing on the Facebook news feeds that promos are coming out for the spring animes that are coming out in April, including a show I'm sure Angela is dying to watch. Reincarnated in another world again. The story of a guy who gets reincarnated into another world, saves that world, gets reborn in his original world, and then reincarnated again.
Can we
I
be
thought you
done
were
with isekai, please?
I thought you were talking about my one hit kill sister.
You see that based on the title alone, I'd actually watch an episode of that, knowing that there's a chance it could be dumb. But no, new Ruby season 9 is going to be a Crunchy exclusive. So and that's I think spring. So I am actually looking forward to that. And that's going to be a English first, Japanese after.
I want to see an anime that comes out that is strong shonen isekai with a mixture of harem, school, rom com, a little bit of everything mixed in there, so everybody can sit there and bitch about the fact they hate it for one reason or another.
Timothy, no, they did not shut down Rooster Teeth. Some of the shows got wrapped up. Ruby is still on the air. It just took a lengthy hiatus, partially because COVID. But see, the trailer for season 9 is out. That dropped a week or so ago. And Ross has a comment for Darren. Speaking of earlier, if you were Daryl, would you put up being crushed by Malika?
I would, because she is adorable.
They also have, speaking of promos, they have been putting promos up about Kuma 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 Bear Season 2, which I am excited about for next season. Next season's going to have some good Season 2s as well. I'm excited about shows like Kuma Bear and In Another World with My Smartphone, because that's a guilty pleasure show.
Oh,
I'm not going to say
Doug,
it's a great show. It's just a guilty pleasure show.
I forgot to ask, have you progressed any further on Nagatoro?
Finish Season 1.
So, what's your final opinion on Nagatoro now that you've actually watched?
Now that I have actually watched Season 1, and I know Season 2 is going on now, I have not started Season 2 yet. So all of my opinions are based off of Season 1. I will start by saying that. Early on, I found her to be an annoying little twit, and even though she was a cute character, I found her actions to be absolutely annoying and found her to be very dislikable. As the storyline progressed, she kind of grew on me, and she is a much better and much more enjoyable character than Uzaki will ever be.
On that note, what did you think of the student council, the art club president?
What the hell? For those who don't, and I don't, have you seen Nagatoro? the art club president, and for those of you who haven't seen Miss Nagatoro, don't bully me, Miss Nagatoro. The main male character is like an introverted nerd who is really big on art, spends all of his time in the art room in the art club, painting things like fruit and inanimate objects. Nagatoro is an underclassman who just likes picking on him because he is so easily manipulated, so to speak. Like she knows how to push buttons and get him embarrassed, make him start to cry. Just very evil at the start. As the storyline progresses, you can see she starts to develop feelings for him and vice versa. The art club president doesn't come in till towards the end of season one, and she is a very voluptuous, purple-haired character who has a very strong passion for art, but to compete in the art in like the school fair, she likes to portray herself in the nude and provocative poses, which in turn ends up getting her in trouble.
But it's art, therefore it's legal in her eyes.
And HH disagrees with me about Nagatoro over Uzaki. I didn't say Uzaki wasn't adorable in her own right, and in season 2 Uzaki got more adorable. I still think Nagatoro is better than Uzaki.
I can't wait till you meet Nagatoro's sister in season 2.
Oh, good God. And Andrew's like, I'm just going to let you idiots talk about which girl is better because I don't really give a
Well,
damn.
we've got some commentary in the chat. Timothy's questioning. Well, no. First, Ross is saying he's excited about Galaxy Next Door. And then I'm going to suspect this is a Darren question. Any good anime stream sites, the one he was using totally went pay only?
Yes, but I'm not going to promote them on air.
That is valid.
And I said,
Um,
growing on you, Timothy says, just like a fungus, which does grow on one. HH, like I said, says, Doug, you are wrong about Uzaki, and I will fight you. Timothy said, I never got the point of really large assets on anime girls.
I will
HH,
agree with that. I will agree with that.
I think
that's a fan service for the sake of fan service thing 90%, 90 to 95% of the time, and I just am over it.
I think that's one reason that I like characters like Uzaki and Nazuna from Call of the Night. They are not overly large asseted characters. They are on the smaller asseted and look more realistic in all honesty. And I think that's what is kind of appealing to them is it's not your typical tropes.
yep.
And Timothy says, Darren, PM it.
Okay. How?
I'll tell you what. You send me a message, and I will send it to Timothy if I can figure out how. Although we can't say it on air, but I could put it into the chat just in there. So.
Well, to be fair, Doug, it's the one I've sent you.
I don't have that at the moment because it's probably buried way back in past ones. So, and for those of you who don't know, Darren, you're on like tablet or phone, so you don't really have much access to chat like Angela and I do.
Correct. I have to constantly go back and forth between screens.
So I'm going to put this in the chat and just take away spaces. I sent that to everything, but that's okay.
Meh.
I'm not worried. But lots of good shows out there. I mean, no shows, and it's unusual outside of like Fury. I'm not going to say that any of the shows I'm watching this season are absolutely groundbreaking, fantastic, you must watch.
Yeah, no, I'm in this like near. I had high hopes for. I watched 2 episodes and that was different. There was a lot of different uh stylistic stuff going on, but then that went on hiatus after episode 3.
The one I will vouch for this season, absolutely must watch, is Vinland Saga. Go watch season 1 first.
I
Oh,
know
and Bow Fury.
because I know in seasons past that I have had shows that I have ranted and raved on that you need to check out. Bocchi the Rock is one of those sleeper shows that was absolutely fantastic. Um, Before that, Shine Post was one of those shows that you know you should check out just because the music in it was great, the story building in there was great, the character building
And
was great.
nope, I had my shows like that a little further back. I think I rambled about 86 for one. Moriarty the Patriot was another sleeper. And then HH, I know you guys have multiple platforms you stream on, but is there one that consolidates the chat? To answer that, everything comes to StreamYard.
So we can see the chat from everywhere that comes through on StreamYard to Angela and myself because we have it up on PC. When you're with Darren using it on a mobile device like a phone or a tablet, he only sees the screen. So like the reflection that you see here, that's what Darren sees. He does not see the chat that's on the side. He has to click to a different tab to see that. So that's why Darren does not see what goes on in the chat, and we
Well,
relay
the
the
question
messages
is,
to
did
him.
Darren mute himself or did you do that?
Darren muted himself.
Yes, I did because
He died.
I've had a little bit of little
Ah,
bit of a cough, as I'm sure you can tell, and my voice is a little deeper than normal.
so Darren is dying. Got it.
He's not dead,
Send
but he's
help!
on his way there.
Send help! Send cute anime girls.
There you go, Darren.
Yay, bunnies!
I will say that I am sad that we can't go to Kineticon this year because they did announce at first 2 guests. I got it in an email, and one of them, speaking of Ram, her sister Ram, the English voice actress of her, Ryan Bartley, is going to be at Kineticon.
You know, Timothy's comment. It was hard keeping track of anime before, and they keep adding more and more. And you know what? That is accurate. There's like anything else, there's so much. Like I have literally at various points gone through Crunchy, spent over an over an hour scrolling through just looking to see what there was. And then finding nothing I wanted to watch in that moment and giving up.
IZ Boy wanted his camera time, so this is our cat Ines. He likes attention. Occasionally he wants to come up and join, and then as you see, he's had enough. Like, okay, I've made my appearance and I'm gone.
Yep. Grumpy cat.
But like I was saying, this season, like we all were excited, extremely excited for Bo Fury because season 1 was so good, and I'll be honest, season 2 has not disappointed.
But I think for the season that's like our one Because last season we all had shows we were watching.
And we each had shows that we were like, this is really, really good. This season, it's like, by the grace of the God, season 2 is like the storyline has kept up, and like it's as good as season 1 was thus far. But it's not one. It's more of one of those fun, feel good shows. Watch it if you want something entertaining to watch. But I'm not going to say it's an amazing top 10 anime ever.
Yeah, like Legend of Heroes is it's okay. Like I think this one's gonna end up being. I had such high expectations, so it's gonna be it's not gonna. Already know it's not gonna live up to what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad. It's just a little dry. It's a little dry. Another one of those super serious animes.
And other shows that I've been watching. I mean, finally caught up with Spy Family. That's just as good as it always is. I'm curious to see how the next season plays out. Um, Saving 80,000 gold in another world for my retirement. Entertaining, but not world breaking.
Um,
And, and I can already say I'm sure Fruit of Evolution, as entertaining as season 1 was, season 2 is probably not going to be world breaking either.
It's not.
and then we have chat. Ross dropped Spy Classroom after one episode because the subtitles were going so fast he couldn't keep up.
Oh, come on. Spy Classroom is actually halfway decent.
Uh, Timothy says he tried watching Spy Family but got lost.
And now they're getting a movie.
Yep, that's gonna be amazing.
I might actually look into going to a theater to watch it if it's in a theater near me.
That reminds me, I need to see about getting tickets for the Kaguya-sama movie since it's going to be in theater on Valentine's Day.
Farming Life in Another World is another one that it's entertaining, but not world breaking. And they do have Spy Family dubbed in English all the way through all 25 episodes. That's what I've been watching, and Megan Shipman did a great job as Anya. I will say that much. Makes me excited to finally get a chance to meet her later this year at PucciCon in Pennsylvania. So we
That's the
get to,
one in October, isn't it?
yes, that's the one you can't make.
Yep. And that
So
is a sad time.
and this is the heartbreaker for you. And not only is she the voice of Anya, she's the English voice of Maple.
I know. I'm just gonna. I might just have to have you.
Get an autograph. Might be the first time Edge has asked for an autograph. Because Maple.
Largely because, and this story comes up all the time, but I feel like if we get Megan Schiffman back on the show, I'd have to tell her I built Maple as a D&D character.
I know she would love that. Maybe we can work something out where we could have her on after PucciCon, and we can do a contest to have a guest co-host for that show from PucciCon. We'll have to talk with her. I know that she has been very busy because not only does she do the voice acting side of things, she's also been doing ADR, directing, and things like that as well. So it would be wonderful to get Megan back on the show, but I know a lot of them have really, really hectic schedules between the life, the universe, and work.
And time zones.
But we really do appreciate everything and that she has done for us in the past, and love the work that she has put out. I know other shows that will be coming out in the future. other simulcasts and stuff that other
Oh god.
season twos and beyond. I'm excited. There's a lot of them coming out that I'm excited for. Include, like I said, Kuma Bears getting a season two. Killing Slimes for 300 Years is going to be having a second season coming out later this year as well. That was a cute series.
And now we're going back to chat. Timothy, I could to answer your comment about D&D. The answer is the jury's still out on that. The thing I alluded to earlier. I think D&D will recover from all the fuss about the rules change. That was a big to do. I'm not gonna really get into it because that would be way too much of a derailment even for us.
Ross
There
says,
is a Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out. I know that. I'm wondering if that's what he's referring to. I'm actually looking forward to that because I think it'll be a fun movie based on the trailer I saw. And yeah. What Timothy's referring to is the rules changing regarding the open gaming license. It was a whole big to do, and Wizards of the Coast eventually backpedaled on all of it, which most are seeing as a win, some are seeing it as too little too late, but the jury's still out, and we'll see what happens.
and Ross said, yeah, he is referring to the D&D movie.
Yep. It looks like it's going to be silly fun, and I'm here for it.
Also, sadly, as I had referenced before about going to a concert in Boston for the International Anime Music Festival, that has been postponed, I was told, by my friend. So, unfortunately, we won't be out in Boston in March. No dates have been set, as far as I know, about when they're going to reschedule it. But hopefully, I will still be able to make it when it is rescheduled. A lot of that will depend on timing. If I am still where I'm currently at, or if I have moved to a new location, maybe living under a rock somewhere in Pennsylvania. You never know. But we are excited about the move to Pennsylvania. The more I think about it, the more I realize it opens up so many new conventions that AZR can go out to and experience, not just in the Pennsylvania area, but we can continue moving westward to cons in Ohio, and maybe even where we're closer to Darren, maybe we can actually go down and harass him in person.
Yay.
And
silent.
Angela looks like she's intently reading the chat or something.
Nope, I'm actually looking. I got curious. The International Anime Music Festival North American Tour has been postponed due to technical and production issues, as future dates are TBD. All tickets will be refunded at their point of purchase. And because some of the shows are listed as canceled and some are not.
Interesting. It does make me sad because I was looking forward to going, because some of the Japanese music and anime music is really, really good.
Agreed. Okay, going back to the chat. Ross says he went to see 80 for Brady. How was it? I've seen trailers. I've seen ads. It looks like another one of those fun movies. And then Timothy saying he hasn't played any RPGs in more years than I care to recall, and that's a shame. I love tabletop role playing.
And Tim also said so many movies, stories, etc. to keep track of. Ross says, "Oh, Timothy, it's getting better. 30th anniversary special of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers cast reunion on Netflix this April." And Ross says, "It was funny, Angela."
Oh, good.
80 for Brady.
The trailer, the things I have seen, it's basically it's been lauded as Golden Girls meets Bridesmaids.
Interesting. And Timothy says Zordon will even be back, but sadly as a villain. Now, Darren, I know earlier you were talking about best girl of the season outside of Maple. What are some of the other strong candidates that you've seen? Knowing that the Crunchyroll Anime Awards recently had their voting and stuff. Um, what are there any shows that you're seeing this season that could be in the category of any of the awards?
Of course. The Angel Next Door spoils me rotten. Mahiru, like I said, probably my favorite girl of the season. Any of the three girls from Tomo-chan as a girl. I personally like Tomo, but I kind of like the character design, personalities around Carol and Gundo. Let's see. Kubo won't let me be invisible. Kubo is adorable. She is basic. It's basically another version of Takagi, even if it's not the same author. I know you like your Dragon Girls, so the one from maybe not best girl, but one of the more interesting characters. Um, Adventurers who don't believe in humanity will save the world. Um,
She is a fun character, but like I said, I wouldn't put her in top five.
she's not uh bottom tier character just for her actions is Miss Inukai from Inukai. I'm Miss Inukai's dog. She is pretty, but she is a weirdo of different proportions. Let's see. Um,
I forgot
not,
that you were starting that one.
yeah.
Is that when
My,
you're gonna finish or drop?
yes, I'm gonna watch it. It's only 10-minute episodes. Then Malika from Chilling in My 30s. And I just watched the dang show earlier. But the main female in Handyman Saito is actually quite adorable herself when she's not behind all her armor. Don't really care for the people in Saving 80,000 Gold, but a lot of people's favorite characters this season have been from the Princess anime. The magical, it's the isekai, I believe. Hold on. The magical revolution of the reincarnated princess and the genius young lady.
What the hell? Another light novel title, I'm sure.
I believe so.
Just
And
because the title is like 3 miles long.
this is the one that said if I'm gonna have a relationship or marry someone, it's got to be a girl coming from a girl. So it's the gay girl anime of the season.
So the Yaoi, or no, the Yuri.
Yuri.
Yuri. Yaoi is the other side.
Yes, and Giga. The classic Giga answer is, how do we make an anime better? Put gay girls in it.
And and that actually worked for Gundam, because that for the fall season, fall 2022, uh, that was actually the couple of the season was the two girls from Witch from Mercury.
Interesting. I think it's neat that you're seeing more acceptance of a variety of topics in anime.
Well, I think it's much like any other media. Content has evolved,
Yeah.
and the chat's going. God, I can't
Mm,
even keep up with chat. Ross
That
Ross says, sadly, Kubo only gets 6 episodes.
because it's one of the delayed shows,
Um,
as
Timothy,
is Ayakashi Triangle and Near and something else.
yep. Timothy says there's a guy on YouTube who plays different games, and he says he will play no game that has a dragon in it for some reason. I'm not sure what channel he's referencing. Ross, what about Wisteria Darren from Tales of Outcast?
What's Tales of Outcast?
So I'm guessing Darren has not seen Tales of Outcast, so he doesn't know Wisteria.
Or if you got the more proper title, Nagatoro is also one of the best girls this season, but that's a season two. Um, what's her name from Inspector? Kotoko.
Oh,
Uh,
the title of the anime is The Tale of Outcasts. It's on Crunchyroll.
okay. Yep, Kotoko. She is cute. Da, 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 da. Then you also have the one of the original best girls this season. Not really. Aish Ballenbutz it because
Oh,
I forgot there was more dungeon this season.
is that this season that they're?
Yes,
I don't.
season
God,
four part
There's
season four part two.
my
can
God.
and you know what? Can I go on a tirade about that?
Go right
What?
ahead.
How to pick up girls in a dungeon?
No, season X part A,
Go ahead.
cuz because it's like, I mean, Attack on Titan's the worst with it, but the final season part 1, part 2, part 3, and then it's the final season part 4, part 1 or something like that. I lost track, but
End it.
well, yes, but like I'm sick and tired of these season 1 part 2, season 1 part 3. Like, but why? Why is this necessary?
Welcome to One Piece final season, part 2763.
Like,
I can agree. I don't understand why they need to do
like
multiple parts of a final season.
or
I,
even just multiple parts to a season in general.
But having split cores has been the trend for many years. That's how we used to get our 20 episode animes, 24 episode animes, 52
But it's
episode animes.
but
what?
it's one of those things where it wasn't presented as such until fairly recently.
I want to say simuldubbing or simulcasting has had a lot to do with that, because the need of continuing a show that has had a lot of popularity as the manga comes out or as they continue to create more of it. And it's like, oh, this is going to be the final. Oh, wait, we have more. Okay, so we need to make a part
So
two.
so instead of just don't necessarily break it up into seasons, do like story arcs or like just make the whole thing one long season with a mid-season break.
If you're gonna do multiple cores and parts to cores, just make them damn new seasons at this point.
Exactly. I don't
Don't call it a final season if it's not going to end in that season. I also
exact
think the fact that there's, now they're breaking anime down into 4 seasons, which you think back 5-10 years ago, you didn't have seasons. You just had shows as they came out
but most
finished.
well a lot of shows back around the time we all started, or at least you and I,
YouTube.
Doug, started watching anime, there weren't as many ongoings. Everything was fairly self-contained, minus maybe Bleach and Naruto. Everything was, 12 episodes, 24, and very
Inuyasha with 167 episodes, 4
but
movies, and whatever
but
happens
that
after that.
was that wasn't the norm.
No, not now. You have everything that's got a million seasons, and it's all shonen.
It's not
And
all shonen.
It's all isekai.
I
There's too much stupid isekai.
There's too much shonen.
there's too much
And
idols. There's too much of everything.
There was
exactly.
Everybody's
too
got
much.
something to
There
complain
was
about.
there was too much etchy at one point.
And
Now I feel there's not enough etchy.
Timothy is
Exactly.
saying that he doesn't like how they're ending Attack on Titan, and honestly, I think I agree with that. I'm still gonna finish it at this point because I'm invested. Uh, HH multiple parts extend the production like the,
Frieza Saga for DBZ,
but
but
it's
it's
infected manga as well, as they will release half chapters per month. Imagine waiting a month for the next part, and nope.
I'm sorry, but in DBZ they did the impossible. They took 10 episodes to cover 3 minutes of a fight.
And then Ross or the main girl. Ross is giving you suggestions for best girl, or the main girl from Ice Blade Sorcerer, or
Haven't seen.
Fuyusuki from Ice Guy and his cool-headed colleague.
Haven't seen.
Princess Rira from Kiana and the Snow Sea.
Haven't seen. Sheesh.
And it's just dialogue that would be 10 seconds in anime.
And that's HH talking about imagine waiting a month for the next part, and it's just dialogue that's 10 seconds in anime.
See, I think this is why I wait on manga
Watching
is
certain shows.
well, no, manga is similar to comics in some respects, and it's like I'll just wait and buy a trade paperback.
And Ross says, Darren is just missing out on the romance. Hope you feel better soon.
Excuse me, sir?
Ross is calling you out a little bit there.
Throwing shade.
That's funny.
Darren's already found the best romance anime of the season, and you won't change his mind. In HH's words, he will fight you on that.
Yes.
Nah.
Because we all know Maple is best girl. Andrew agrees.
I do, but I'm not gonna fight anybody over it. It's not worth it.
I also think that shows have gone to that because they know the fan base will watch.
See,
That's why I lose interest in extremely long running shows, because it's like shows, a lot of shows that I have given a chance to that are long running shows, things like Fairy Tale and My Hero. I started seeing similar arcs repeating themselves with different characters. And I just kind of lost interest in watching the same thing over and over and over again without, it's like, okay, this is predictable. He's going to do this, this, and this, and when.
and My Hero, we are actually at a point where that is not the case. That being said, we've discussed this part ad nauseum. We're actually at a point where My Hero is
Actually worth watching?
I would say yes. You guys can say it's overrated all you want. I'll actually agree to a certain extent.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I've heard how great the past couple chapters or seasons have been, as in like very recent memory, but the first couple, just no.
I and that's fair. There was a little bit. The first couple of seasons were interesting. Then we got to a chunk where it wasn't as good. It was still enjoyable, but not as good. The villain arc I maintain was fantastic, and the current arc is, without spoiling,
Dark.
very dark. I'm loving it, and it is very much not what you would expect.
Yeah, I'd still rather watch Black Clover, but I would be down to give it another chance.
Black Clover, Black Clover is one of those ones I meant to watch when it was new, didn't, and now there's so much, and I'm just like, I don't have time
Well,
for
to
this.
be to be fair, it took like 10 episodes to get used to Asta yelling all the time. So there is an adjustment to that.
Like when we were in 2018, when I was in Tokyo, Black Clover was advertised everywhere. From the chat, also, Doug, when are you going to audition for Rick and Morty?
Why?
Did you
I,
not hear about that?
I have not heard, no.
To the short version is one of the co-creators got effectively fired because of some real life issues, accusations and things. It got messy, and he's basically being canceled. And so they have announced that the show will go on. It's contracted through season 10. To answer Timothy's comment, they are making more. It's contracted, and it's who's going to be doing the voices is TBD.
I have no voice acting experience whatsoever, so I don't know. And also, shocking news here, I don't think I've ever watched a Rick and Morty episode.
I've seen a couple of episodes. It is not my jam. Timothy, to the best of my knowledge, the other co-creator is producing it solo instead of as part of a pair. That is all I know. Why they would change the VAs, because the co-creator who got fired was the voice of both Rick and Morty.
So I could have Darren and me do the voices.
And Ross is saying it's going to be on Hulu.
Maybe it might be like I won't lie. I have thought about voice acting and looking into what it takes to do that. I know it's not an easy job. I have a ton of respect for what the voice actors do in anime, cartoons, video games, things like that. Um, do I think I could actually do it as a career? Probably not, because I have no theatrical experiences at all. The most acting I do is pretending I know what I do on the podcast. Um, that's about it.
So I say that every day. I have no idea what I do, what I'm doing. I just pretend to know.
Uh, I'd argue that's the story of my life, but
At least I'm not afraid to look like an ass in public. I will say that much.
meh. But about what we got. Oh wow!
Wow, we only got about 7 minutes left of the show. The time has flown.
I
Holy
know,
cow.
right? Wow.
Yeah. And Ross is not letting me off the hook.
Oh no! Now they're just going on about Rick and Morty,
Yeah.
which
Mm.
hey, cool. The chat.
The
Which
last,
hey, cool. The chat's actually being interactive. I heart you all.
Thank,
yeah,
thank you.
You all are awesome.
I did it too. You just couldn't see me.
Time's fun when you're having flies, said by a frog.
And the last time I heard anything about Rick and Morty was literally the other day. I was scrolling my Facebook and a Family Guy clip came up. And Stewie had borrowed something from Rick and Morty, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, they borrowed plenty from us."
And
Uh,
Ross picking on Darren again, scrolling back up in the chat, said, okay, if I generally had to pick best girl of the season, it's Malika. Second best is Wisteria. And Darren, those shows I listed earlier, they're romances.
I know, Ross, but I'm saying I haven't watched them because I got so much else going on this season. And no, you're wrong. Mahiro Shina is the best.
That will be a debate that will continue to go on.
you know what we could do? If we let the chat pick one anime that all three of us had to watch.
I think we tried something. No, we tried something like that before that the three of us decided we had. That was between me, Doug, and
Casey.
Casey.
I was gonna say that did not involve me.
And that kind of ended when it was something that I had started, but due to lack of time, I never really continued. So I kind of killed that.
Or we just pick one show that the everyone picks a show for someone. One of us picks a show for someone else.
Okay, I pick Aho Girl for you.
Oh God.
Also, a scheduling. Go ahead, Ange.
Based on your reaction, I'm gonna regret this.
I do want to have a scheduling update out there. February 26th, we will not be doing a show. I will be traveling on that day. So I will not be around. Probably, I don't even know if I will be home in time for the show. I am taking a weekend away, kind of a mental health break weekend to just relax and prepare for the grind that will be coming up after that with preparing for a big move from New York to Pennsylvania. Um, if you
What does
guys want to do a show, you can.
I was about to say, what does relax mean?
I am going to try to figure that out the last weekend of February.
Let me double check something. Calendar time.
Ross, I'm aware of that, but still.
Honestly, I could probably do with extra sleep because I'm
What
doing
sleep?
sleep.
What is that?
What you do during the show 90% of the time.
Oh God, what is Kosi?
Aho Girl, I think, would be a fun one for Angela just because of what it is, and Angela would come back and watch you slap the crap out of you.
Yes,
No,
exactly. Hey, at least it's not a full series.
And it's not an isekai. At least he made a suggestion that wasn't an isekai for you, Ange.
See, I apparently one of the shows I really enjoyed was an isekai. I just didn't know it at the time, and I still questioned that. But you know,
Which one was that again?
Drifters.
Okay.
If you look it up, it is technically an isekai. I didn't know that at the time. I enjoyed it.
I see what you did there, Doug.
What did you make the background?
I think you'd have to I think you'd have to share screens to get the full picture on that one, sir.
I would have to pull everybody down off of the thing real quick just to show. So let's do that to get Ange's actual reaction.
But why?
That is just one screenshot from Aho Girl.
All right.
And just so you know, that is a flashback scene. That is not them as through the whole series.
No, that is when they were younger.
Oh God, I'd have to.
Hey, at least you get it. At least I'm not going to spoil it, but at least your best character is not even a human.
Or a dragon or a bunny.
No, it's actually a relatable.
See,
You bring the comments up.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
um,
Oh my god, that's wrong.
see, I don't even know what to recommend. I don't even know where the lines are anymore. No, you know what would be fun?
Now it's just gonna be fun seeing the comments with that.
Yep. And then next one. Good night, Ross. We'll see you next week.
Have a good night, Ross.
God, I should make you guys watch Goblin Slayer.
I've seen Goblin Slayer, so I don't know what your problem is.
So Ange wants me to watch Goblin Slayer then, and then I would probably have Shine Post for Darren.
Okay.
Make him sit through a nice idle anime.
I've never sat through an idle anime except for Zombieland Saga, so
And John saying Goblin Slayer that he watched it and it's getting a season 2. I remember seeing that and I'm actually looking forward to that. See what they do with it. I enjoyed Goblin Slayer. It got a lot of hype because it got a lot of hype for something
because of the first episode. That's it.
And the first episode didn't even go into any detail. It just kind of it actually insinuated and not much more.
Yes, this wasn't Interspecies Reviewers or a redo of Healer.
So if we are all in agreement, we will sit down and watch those as soon as we can.
If I have time this week, I'll do an episode.
And I'm sure Goblin Slayer is not something I would normally watch.
I thought you tried.
I don't think I did. Demon Slayer I tried, but not Goblin Slayer. Demon Slayer, I do my normal 3-episode trial. On that one, I gave 6 and was like, nope, doesn't interest me.
Whereas Demon Slayer, we watched. We started watching it. I was sold after episode 2, and we are in the process of watching it to, in a perfect world, get caught up before the new season comes, but that's probably not going to happen. Let me put it this way, Doug. Goblin Slayer is my kind of. It's a me show.
And Cowgirl is the best.
Now I'm sorry, chat. I'm just having fun with your comments to see what fits best with the caption at the bottom of the screen. It was just different.
And
Eat
you
the
know
yellow
what?
wee wee.
And you know what? It is that time.
It is that time. Okay, I think that one wins.
I'll agree.
Ah, yes, the cultured anime. Eat the yellow wee wee.
We are people of culture here.
That is fair.
But Goblin Slayer wasn't even that gory.
And you know what? But that's subject to taste.
Some people just do not like gory animes, me for one. But it
And
also depends on the extent of the goriness, and B, the context that the goriness is in. Because some people say that there's a lot of goriness in Overlord, but it was fitting to the story.
And the same could be said for Chainsaw Man.
Yes.
But on that note, it is after 10 o'clock here, and I hope everybody had a wonderful time enjoying our 2 hours of randomness and rambling. Again, next Sunday, we're going to be joined by Josie McCoy from Genshin Impact, very talented voice actor. It's going to be fun having him back on the show. We are really excited to have him join us again. We have no guest lined up after that. We are in talks with a few people. I need to make sure that we have finalize some things for upcoming shows. I know Angela has some ideas for upcoming guests as well. Darren, anybody that you can think of, feel free to invite as well. And if you out in the chat have any ideas of guests you'd like to see us, shoot us a message on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Anime-Zing Radio. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like the video and subscribe. Our goal is 500 subscribers at the end of 2023. Help us reach that goal. Also, we have a Patreon if you want to support our show and want to see us get better equipment, able to travel to more conventions. Head over to patreon.com/Anime-Zing Radio. Become one of our awesome supporters. We love the people who have supported us thus far. Also, look for us at upcoming conventions. I know that for AZR, we will definitely be at Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo at the end of April. We will also be at the Rail City Fan Fest in June and PuchiCon in October. So those are definite for us. I know, Ange, you have a couple of cons you may be hitting as well.
I will be working as an enforcer for PAX East. So if any of you lovely people will be at PAX East, feel free to come find me and say hi.
And Darren will be too busy with landscaping.
I think that's.
I might hit Animazement and Raleigh SuperCon this year. It all depends on my schedule and their policies.
But on that lovely note,
I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Have a great week. Stay safe out there. Temperatures are warming up, which is a plus. Until next week, when we have Josie McCoy, I hope you all keep watching anime. Thank you for supporting us here on Anime-Zing Radio, and have a wonderful week.
Good night.